Ready?
Yeah.
What you know about corner wars? Ill, for real, we'll even give you the tour. You ain't gotta just take it from us, you can get on the bus. You won't believe it when you see it for yourself.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome you all to the Drug War Reality Tour, a project of the Kensington Welfare Rights Union. My name is Arun Prabhakaran. The Kensington Welfare Rights Union is a multiracial organization of poor and homeless families and people working to end poverty in the United States and worldwide. We do these tours to educate people and build a movement to end poverty in this country and document economic human rights violations. So now we're going into what we like to term ground zero. For a number of years, Kensington has been synonymous with poverty, with the sex trade, the drug trade, and basically the depths of human misery. And so we call this the ground zero.
This one right here, I think they come out after school let out. You know what I mean? They sell dope heroin right here. You know, I can tell you, like myself, like I do a lot of organizing on the corners, talking to these young guys that be selling drugs straight up because, like, I know them and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I used to be out there with them. I asked them, you know, if you had a choice of risking your life standing on a corner, selling drugs and worrying about going to jail and stuff like that, would you rather do that, or would you rather want to go work at McDonald's? They'd be like, fuck no, I'm not going to work at McDonald's, you know what I mean, for $5.25 an hour, you know what I mean, when I can actually sell drugs on a corner for like 5 hours a day and make more than most people make in a month. You know what I mean? That's real. You know what I mean? That's real.
What happened is you find that most of the people who are using drugs as a means of income are family people, people with children who are doing it as supplemental income. It's not the hardened criminal. It's not the young boy on the street, the thug. I mean, most of the drug transactions are family people selling drugs for survival.
And it ain't just happen overnight, you know what I mean? People just don't pick up and like out of the blue and say, yo, I want to be on crack, you know what I mean? People just don't pick up overnight and say, I want to be a drug dealer. People are like fed up with just not being able to, like, you know, have some type of dignity. And when you rise to the top in like the drug game, you get some type of dignity where people look up to you for some type of reason.
Kensington didn't always used to be a drug place. It used to be a textile manufacturing center for the North. It was one of the major manufacturing hubs of the country. They used to say if you walked down American Street, you lost your job, you could find one in 5 minutes. Okay? Now, try to find a job now. I don't see one. So, why don't we go, to go on in history and look at why did that happen? Why are there so many homeless people in this area? Why are there so many people who are poor? Why are there such bad schools and all of these things?
In Kensington, as a whole, there's two main sources of income. One is public relief, or welfare, what they call welfare, and the other one is drug, is the monies that change hands as a result of drugs. Drugs is here because there's no jobs here. Drugs is here because there's no health care. Drugs is here because the housing is deteriorating. I mean, this is the drug economy is taking the place of a legitimate, vibrant economy that's fit for the dignity of human beings. instead of dealing with these conditions, they've labeled this whole community as badlands, as to suggest that the people here are not decent, people who are trying to strive to hold their families together, to fight under very difficult conditions and so forth.
And so what we want to do is just to point out the fact that our perceptions of this problem are being managed. We are told things about people who are poor, that they're lazy, they're crazy, that they don't have any worth in society, or people who are on drugs the same. And so one of the things that this does is it makes it okay for people to be treated in a less than human way.
You wouldn't have the kind of drug trafficking taking place without the complicity of the police. I mean, you have right here on this corner here of Somerset, you know, just open sales of drugs, of needle exchange, and so forth. The police is very much aware of it. Everybody's aware of it. Everybody knows about it. And it's been here for years. It's been here as long as I've been in here. And yet there's been all this talk about war on drugs, and yet it still persists. And not only does it persist, it gets worse.
And so when we talk about the drug war, we have to understand that it functions in a very specific way. It functions as a form of chemical warfare on the people of this country and the people throughout the world. It destroys people's lives, their thinking, their minds. People are like time bombs walking through the community, and a lot of people here can testify to that experience.
And when you look at the overall pattern of how this thing plays itself out, what happened is a community that would ordinarily explode because of these conditions in organization and social movements to challenge the policies that put them in this kind of predicament. Communities that would do that are not doing that because they are preoccupied, imploding. They're not exploding, they're imploding. They're fighting, they're up against each other.
There is a social, political, historical reason for why these drugs are in these communities, and there is a policy objective to be gained. That's why we call it a drug war, because war is the means by which you use weapons to gain policies, directives to get those things, when it's not possible to gain them by political or social means.
It's clear that there's forces at play that are using the deterioration and the consequences and devastations of the drug epidemic and the deteriorating economic conditions to begin to create a situation where they can push the poor out of the urban areas, try to attract, you know, the so-called creative class, the educated class, the higher incomes into the inner cities to try to create an infrastructure that would attract investments. And so what you see is an acceleration of this pushing of the poor into the periphery. That process is clearly underway, you know, and that is a clear trend.